action.
Action.
Yeah.
Hello, my name's Bernadette and I'm the co-founder of Big Country Book Club. Today my guest is Li Feng, who is the author of Forge from Silver Dollar. Welcome.
Thank you, Bernadette.
Now Li, I'm going to talk to you about your book, which I know very well, and I love it. So first of all, let's talk about the title. Can you introduce us to who Silver Dollar was?
Oh, Silver Dollar is this formidable woman in our family that is responsible for our gene formation for the future 4 generations of strong women, I think, in our family. And she is my great-grandmother. And she was born in a very poor family. And when she was born, literally, she had nothing. And she was actually sold into my great-grandfather's family because he wasn't able to afford to have a decent wife. So his mother actually bought him a wife.
And explain why people thought she wasn't a decent wife. Because of her feet?
Yeah, because feet is one issue, because she didn't have a proper bound feet. As you know, in those days, the bound feet is a must for a woman, with that could be regarded as a decent woman in the society. But she didn't have that because her family didn't, in fact, able to bother to do that because they're so poor, and they had to look after, their own survival rather than, looking at issues of her bound feet. Yes, so that's one of the big reasons of her being in that kind of status of being introduced into the family. The other reason is because his family is entered into the family with a beggar's entry. She had nothing brought in, and therefore she was treated like a house slave almost. Yeah.
And so she is the first woman we meet
Yes.
in your book.
Yes.
But there are many others. Do you want to just tell us about the main people in your book?
Yes. Silver Dollar, because she is the first person started the entire matriarchal line of our family, probably, is the dominant line of our family, as women in our family are always quite dominant. The other people after Silver Dollar is my grandmother that I mentioned about. Yet my grandfather's other 2 wives, their stories are interesting, but we wouldn't be able to touch a lot more in that area. But their stories reflect women's life in that era as well. After my grandmother is my mother. My mother is the main character probably for this book, because I wrote this book to reflect her memory of what happened at that period of time.
There's a quote from your mother. She said, "Success demands 2 things, unconditional sacrifice and absolute mental focus."
Yes.
I think that sums her up quite well.
Yes, she is. If she's a perfectionist, if she wants something to be done, she wants it to be done with perfection. And if she wants success, she said that I will give you that kind of... She often told me, she said, it's like a mental radar. You got to have that in your mind. You've got to believe it. She's really sort of like brainwashing you into a success plan, so you have no other alternative.
So Li, your mother died not long ago,
Yes.
which was very sad, but
Yes.
she did work with you on the book, didn't she?
She did, especially when you look at the first 10 chapters of the stories, that would be mostly from her memories of what happened at that period of time, because I wasn't born at that time, and Mum and also some other relatives, of course, contributed, but it was mostly from the interviews of her about that era.
Yes, yes. And what are the things that I find fascinating about the book is it's written by you, who you're now living in Sydney, you're a modern woman in your 40s, but when you read it, you think you could be taken back hundreds of years. You know, so much has happened in China in a very short space of time, hasn't it?
Yes. China, and it's still changing. It's still changing, but it's certainly in the last 100 and 150 years, it's been through quite a lot of turmoils. What you have read in the book.
Yes.
And it's almost like even for our generation when life was considered to be a lot better and less tumultuous than their era, it was still full of, reforms and social evolutions that happened, economic transformation of China happening during that period of time, and to adjust into that pace of that development, that evolution, is constantly a very strenuous process for all people getting involved in there. I think if you read the book, you would see those stress that I went through, that elite education system.
Yes.
That was education reform that Deng Xiaoping put in, because he wanted the best of and the most intelligent in the country to serve for that full modernization development in China. And he eradicated the class system in the past, and that gave people like my mother that hope of becoming, someone being respected by the society again, and that is almost like a irresistible temptation for her, and because she's been discriminated for so long, and she wanted that so badly that she would do anything to regain her dignity in the society.
Yeah. And Li, what did your mother think when you said you were going to write the book?
She was really loved the idea of that, because she felt that that was really, really important for her. The book for her is like something that she wanted to get done for a long period of time. She wanted the book to reflect the journeys that she went through. She also wanted people in the Western world to have better understanding of modern China from the point of view of a condemned class, and also from the view of a humanistic point of view, I would say. So it wasn't an easy book. It's really, parts of it could be quite traumatic for me, because I think I'm still suffering from the after effect of it, in the sense of, sometimes I still feel there's something in my stomach, and that must be, some of those traumas that has been stirred up. But I think once it's been expressed, it does have a cathartic effect, and things you do feel a lot better, because what needs to be told is told. Yeah.
And you have a little niece who still lives in China.
Yes.
What do you think are some of the really fundamental changes between when you were her age and now for her when she's 9 in China? What do you think is, say, maybe the top 2 differences?
Oh, she's too spoiled. Life is too easy, too good, and it shouldn't be like that. She should have a mother that's bashing her into shapes,
And I think her aunt might be one of the people who spoils her.
I try not to, but I think, it's just the general environment. So much love, support, and also there wasn't a mother that has this dreams, that dream of being recognized and being regaining dignity. That urge of it is no longer here for her to, you know, to push her into achieving those goals of so-called success.
Yes.
So she definitely has a lot less load than us when we were young. And also, the other big difference is that life is so much easier because, you know, like China right now is in economically a much better position in the sense of, you know, like family incomes and also the resources around her. She wouldn't have the problem of starvation, hunger, you know, like, and ration food, you know, like what we had at that period of time, the hardship of those. But, you know, like, environment is still, if there is any stress for young people like her in China, it would be the environmental part of it, because China right now is paying the price for the economic development, and the environment is, degradation is a big issue that is having a big impact on them at the moment. Yeah.
Yes. So, Li, one of the readers of your book made a very good point. She said that in the past there have been lots of books about maybe the higher levels of society in China.
Yeah.
One of the gripping things about your book, Forged from Silver Dollar, is it's about regular people living regular lives, but those lives are so very hard.
Yes, that's why I wanted to write this book. I think people wants to know, because like a lot of those memoirs in the past, they were from those privileged groups, the elites, or I should say the elites of the society. But our family, just the ordinary everyday family in China, and also, you know, being through a lot of condemnation as a condemned class. So people wants to know what their life was like. And also, I think people wants to know what women's life were like, you know, through all these generations. Ordinary women, not, you know, the privileged women, but ordinary women, what their life was like. And I hope that this book reflected that. And that's what Mum believed that it had reflected as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Li, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the next book.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.